Um, 3D printing has actually been around for a very long time. It's been more than 30 years since the first 3D printers came out. The issue is that it's always been terribly expensive. It used to be millions of dollars for these machines. Now it's still tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we sell this as a kit for this guy goes for $12.50 right now, I think. So they're actually affordable enough that you can have one yourself. And amazingly enough, once you have one yourself, you start seeing uses for it everywhere.
Markets don't get large and certain until somebody starts them. And the people who start them are users. And what we see today in the hacker movement is really something kind of interesting. It's sort of a consciousness of hacking as a desirable activity.
It's not surprising this appeals to people, and they start looking around for who else is doing 3D printing and home fabrication and things like that, and they find us, and then they come down here and they want to see how it works, and they want to get into it.
We have the best user base in the world because these people are these are people who are actively researching and making things better than we possibly could have the time or energy to make them. This in itself is a descendant of other open source projects.
I think it's one of the reasons why this technology evolves so quickly, is that it's a piece of technology that you use to improve itself, or you can use to improve itself. And then you couple that with the people who are into it are some of the most innovative people there are right now, and you have very short release cycles with leaps forward.
What really is going on is, again, a user innovates, and a lot of stuff that one user does, nobody else cares about. It's like, oh no, I don't care. But some of those things other people like, and they start to get involved too, and you've got a community. So what the community is doing is two things. One is it starts to help, and the other thing it starts to do is it shows you what's successful and what isn't.
Well, I did not design this. I knew ahead of time I needed some feet to put on here. I didn't know what I was going to use. While waiting to print out these feet, I've been propping this thing up on Dixie cups, which works, but it's definitely not a permanent solution. But someone else had the same problem. They printed out some of these feet that'll go on there, and they say, well, someone else is going to have this problem too. I did. I was able to go download the design for this, and then use my 3D printer to print it out.
For me, that's the really exciting part, is the utilitarian uses, because this takes it from being something that is some crazy futurist toy, to something that you're going to use every day. And this is very much like the evolution of the computer, where it went from, here's a kit that you put together at home, it's for enthusiasts that, are just working on like their own little world. And then quickly it became something that everybody used to manage their money, to, communicate with each other.
But I think even the hackers might not know how what they've done is the source of innovation that companies later utilize, and has always been so.
So I think Hackerspace's real value in this respect is to give people a place to play around, give a place for people to be creative, and businesses can grow out of that, and businesses will grow out of that. But I feel like that perhaps should not be a primary motivation in starting a hackerspace. It will happen. It's laying the groundwork for a culture in which new things can happen, and it's not something explicit. It's not like, oh, here's an incubator for businesses. And there's a lot of, I hear about it talk like that, like, oh, well, if we start lots of hackerspaces, lots of businesses will grow out of that. Well, quite possibly, yes. But not because the hackerspace is a good place to start a business so much because the hackerspace is a great place for people to start realizing their own potential.
Again, what we've got here is a paradigm shift, because everything you look at in the government and so on is like patented. First thing you should do is patent whatever they so do not understand the economics of open. And hackers are generally open. They just don't get it. But what we've shown is that it's economically viable, and in fact, in many spheres, hackers are driving manufacturers out of the innovation business, so it's really cool.
So, we're standing on the shoulders of giants, and other people are standing on our shoulders, and that's really the way it should be, because it means everybody is actually moving forward and making progress rather than, a couple of people having some secret sauce somewhere.